And hello again! Welcome to one more of the videos. Today, as I mentioned in the previous video, I will give you an overview of the incident that we know as Aisha's accusation or the slander against Aisha. Again, as I mentioned earlier in the previous video, this is something that is not being talked enough. I mean, everyone knows about the age of Aisha's marriage, and everyone knows that Aisha was beloved of the Prophet, and everyone knows that the Prophet died on the, on the care of Aisha. But nobody really talks about. I mean, I learned about this incident maybe 2 years ago. And there are many incidents in Islamic history, if you wish, and many hadith that for some reason have been hidden from the lay believers. So, without further ado, and I will not go into extensive details because that's not the point. The point is for you to learn the incident and pose some questions about the incident. If you need further elaboration, there are publications that actually I haven't found one specific publication, but perhaps you need to dive into hadith, or if you are interested, I can give you further information. Leave a comment under the video. Sometimes I wonder whether anyone watches these videos. So the story goes like that the Prophet was traveling, Aisha was with him, and I mean, they were not alone. An entire group of Muslims were traveling. They stopped to camp in a place. There was a tree nearby. Aisha fell asleep under the tree. Now, mind you, Aisha was still a child. Yes, she was married, but she was still a child. And we know she was still a child because later we will see when the Prophet started asking people around, one of the wives of the Prophet, and we know that through a hadith that Aisha left us, said that, I know that she's a child. So the story, back to the story, Aisha fell asleep under a tree. The Muslims packed and started leaving, and nobody noticed that Aisha is not among the travelers. Here's the first question mark. Okay. How come and nobody noted or noticed that Aisha was not there? Aisha is the wife of the Prophet, a very young person. Someone must have or should have the care of this person, of this child, essentially. Who would we expect to have this care? Could be some of the elder wives of the Prophet, could be the Prophet himself, could be some of, I don't know, the notables, could be Aisha's family, the mother and the father. I don't know who, but anyway, the caravan left. Aisha was not with them. At some point, a random Muslim man that was traveling alone catches up with the caravan, carrying Aisha on his animal. Nobody was there in the point of meeting to tell us exactly what happened, how this random man found Aisha. What was the state of Aisha? Was she scared? Was she still asleep? We don't know. The way Sira, Islamic history, has been written down is that, the man reached, and when he recognized Aisha, he made his animal bend, and Aisha climbed on the animal. They want to, the Sira wants to show that, they didn't even touch each other, they didn't talk to each other, it's just that, he made the animal and bow or bend, and Aisha climbed by herself. And here we need to understand the Sira, Islamic history, is inevitably heavily biased towards certain people, because daring say anything else or daring not showing dedication and adoration and respect would deem someone a bad Muslim. But anyway, we live in 2024. We understand that this is an unnecessary detail that nobody could know, and yeah. But anyway, the facts are facts. Aisha appears with a strange, with a random Muslim man that is not part of the caravan to the caravan. However, when Aisha reaches there, she's ill. So she falls ill. She doesn't have consciousness of what is happening around her. A month later, she recovers, and she discovers that the community, the entire community, starts stating that, oh, Aisha is having affair or had an affair with this stranger man, that Muslim man that brought her back to the camp. Upon realizing what is happening and seeing that the Prophet has not defended her, she left the Prophet. And this is another point, again, about the power of the women. Imagine, Aisha is a child bride. She is a child wife. But when she felt that the Prophet did not defend her, she left the Prophet and she went back to her family. Now, we do know from other narrations that Abu Bakr, the father of Aisha, was a violent person and was hitting Aisha often. We have several incidents when we know that Abu Bakr hit Aisha. We don't know what happened when Aisha went back to her family. What we know is that a few days later, the Prophet visited Aisha in her family's quarters. And they sat together, the mother, the father of Aisha, and the Prophet. And then the Prophet said that technically, the Prophet asked Aisha to tell him the truth, what has happened. And then Aisha looked at her father and then looked at her mother, asking, she wanted to see whether they will support her. And they said, oh, child, we don't know what the truth is. To which Aisha responded that, right now, I have all of you around me asking me to tell you something. And if I tell you the truth, you will not believe me. Because if you were to believe in my innocence, you will have believed it anyways. And I cannot tell you something that is not true. So I will do what Prophet Joseph did, and I will remain patient and in silence. I will endure in silence and patiently. Not in silence, I will endure patiently. The rumors are there. Half of the camp and some people that they were important and they were part of Aisha's family are spreading the rumors, and they claim that definitely Aisha had an affair. Other people were more, especially some of the wives of the Prophet, were more kind and gentle, saying that, to the best of our knowledge, she's pious and she's good, but she's still a child. At some point, among the many people that the Prophet was consulted, and this is an incident that perhaps it worth contemplation, that why the Prophet, the messenger of God, the man that theoretically modern day mainstream Islam wants us to imagine or want us to believe, that was infallible, never made a mistake, or his words and his decisions are directly linked to God. How come, and he went through this process, that he did not defend his wife? He did not show to know the ethics and the value and the principles of his wife, the wife that he loved, okay? So he was asking everyone. If you go into the hadith and you see the incidents, he was asking everyone. He was asking his wives, he was asking Ali, he was asking everyone. That's where Ali said that, look, I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know exactly what Aisha did, but, you can have other wives. God has made every woman, halal for you. That played a very important role in years to come. When Aisha was 30-something years old, the Prophet was dead, and then Aisha had the battle or had the war against Ali. One of the elements of this friction between Aisha, historically people have recorded that Aisha never forgave Ali for not supporting her. So anyway, some people say this, some people say that. Aisha lives with her parents now. The Prophet is alone. He's devastated because, beyond anything else, he's a political leader. Any notion of violation of his honor would have an impact to the Muslims and will have an impact to him as a political leader and a spiritual leader. So in this situation, and a little bit later, the Prophet doesn't make his mind up. He doesn't take a decision. He doesn't divorce Aisha, but he doesn't also go to tell her that, look, I believe you, come back home. And then the Quran revealed Surah An-Nur, ayahs 11 to 21, where primarily God says that all of that is a slander, and why did you, those that created it, God will deal with them, and those of you that you supported it, you never brought for witnesses, because in Islamic law, as we know, in aim to accuse anyone for infidelity, which between me and you, we are talking now about a crime, because Aisha was married. That's problematic. Now, I'm not quite sure. I believe that up to the death of the Prophet, the idea was not that the punishment was not death for adulterers, married people, because today has developed that if the people are not married, the punishment is lashes, but if they're married, the punishment is death. I don't believe that this was the case back then, because yes, Islamic law has developed. But anyway, we're talking about something serious. And perhaps that's why the Prophet, never actually pronounced a divorce and never showed to accept the accusations, but at the same time, never stood by the side of his wife. You have a young person that has only met you. You're supposed to know their values and their principles and everything. And this idea that because she was astray, or she was alone, she was under the tree, and she met a male, doesn't mean that the only purpose of the idea is that when a woman meets a man alone, she will commit adultery. That's not the idea. The women, it's not that we are seeking moments to lift our garments and start fornicating. But anyway, one of the questions that I still contemplate, I don't have an answer for that, is that why the Prophet didn't support Aisha? Why the Prophet didn't stand by the side of his wife? Isn't it supposed that this is what husbands should do? Isn't it supposed that this is what loving, caring males in our families are supposed to do? But he didn't. Could be that he didn't want to appear as abusing his power and abusing his authority. Could be because he knew that if he will do that, then Muslims will start saying, he did that because he loves his wife too much, and the slander will continue, and this would have an impact, will invalidate him as a leader. I don't know what the reasons were. I know that the Prophet loved Aisha. There is no question about that. But I also know that he was asking everyone for an advice. And then the revelation comes where it clears the matter, and then Aisha rejoined her husband. In the previous video, I emphasized on the importance of this incident as a proof that God loves women and protects women even when their own families don't protect them and they don't stand by their sides. But there are other elements as well. One thing I need to clarify, there is another incident with a necklace. And very often, Aisha losing a necklace. And very often these two incidents are being merged together as one story, which is not one story. And why it is not one story, it cannot be one story. In the incident of the slander, Aisha disappears from the caravan and then rejoins the caravan. In the incident of the necklace, the caravan has never left. The incident of the necklace is an incident where theoretically Aisha lost her necklace, and then the Prophet kept the community stationed at this spot until Aisha will find her necklace. And then we have this hadith that Aisha told us that Aisha was in the tent with the Prophet sleeping and having his head up upon her thigh. And then Abu Bakr, her father, coming in and starting accusing Aisha that because of you, the Prophet keeps us here, and the men are thirsty, they don't have water, and that harms the society. And then Abu Bakr slapped or hit Aisha, and Aisha says in her hadith that the only reason that I didn't move and I accepted the physical punishment of my father is because the Prophet was resting upon me. So in this story, the idea is that Aisha loses the necklace, the caravan is ready to move. Aisha tells the Prophet that, oh my God, I lost my necklace. And then the Prophet is like, we stay here until the necklace will be found. But because the water had finished and the people were thirsty, people started complaining. But the Prophet was like, no, we stay here. Now, I don't know which incident happened first and which incident happened second. But it cannot be the same incident, because the first incident has to do with Aisha staying alone away from the caravan, and that's how the accusations for infidelity came. Whereas in the second incident, Aisha and the Prophet were together. They were there. And then eventually, in the second incident with the necklace, eventually what happened is at some point one of the camels stood up, and when the camel stood up, the necklace was under the animal. And then they moved. So don't confuse the two incidents. But there are many incidents like that. I would advise that you read a lot about Aisha's ahadith, because traditionally the most hadith that they are famous and we know about are hadith that they are being reported by male companions. Aisha's hadith are many and are exceptionally useful, and they give us a lot of information to contemplate on. So that is all about Aisha and her troubles with the Muslims. I will make more videos about less well-known incidents that we need to know. It is very important that you read Islamic history, and I don't mean go on Google or having your uncles and aunties telling you history. I know it's very expensive. The books are very expensive, but do your due diligence and try to find sources and read books, and bear in mind that books alone will not be adequate. Go to hadith collections and read the hadith. Again, hadith collections are expensive, I know it, and they're huge, require discipline to read them. But it's your religion. It's good to know your religion. That is all from me for now. I always make a mistake here. Until the next video, have a lovely day.